It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen.
Hey.
As we get ready to sit down, talk about movies, and maybe crack some cold ones, or just this week, probably just drink water, weirdly enough for the both of us. But today we'll be discussing what films we've seen lately, as well as what new movies are on the horizon. We'll provide some small updates on physical media releases and the latest notable developments in the world of movies. But first, Corey, I know you're drinking water. We can talk about that in a minute. But how have you been?
I'm good. Frankly, I just forgot to buy beer this week. It was my week. Also, you're not drinking for the marathon.
So it's just water.
I did have 2 Coors Banquets at my grandparents' yesterday. They didn't know they had them. So that was fun. But yeah, I just forgot to buy them. So it's just a water week. And I drank all of the whiskey that was that Lagavulin whiskey.
You finished that?
I finished it.
Oh.
It's all gone. So I finished that earlier this week.
It's
so
just
I
a rough night.
Truly don't. I don't know. I just... Yeah, there's never a bad time to drink whiskey.
I know, but that stuff is hard to get through. Not that it's bad, it's just so smoky that it's something you can't really sip. Like, I'm very much like, I can drink whiskey neat, not that that's a flex, but like that stuff, I need to water that shit down. That is hard to get through.
Yeah, I actually grew to really like it, but that was the last of my liquor, so I need to do a little run to Lick-a-Stow. On my way to the Lick-a-Stow. But yeah, I almost went to Burger King this morning because they have a How to Train Your Dragon meal.
Yes.
Did you see that? You guys heard about this? They have a Dragon Flame Grilled Whopper, Fiery Dragon Mozzarella Fries, Soaring Strawberry Lemonade, and a Vikings Chocolate Sundae. And the bun on the burger is red and orange. That's pretty cool. So I'm off for a few days this week, so that's going to be a great activity for me to go. Maybe I'll eat it inside the Burger King and just get real greasy.
I don't know the last time I ate like fast food in a fast food establishment, like sat down and was like, yep, this is where I want to eat this meal.
Yeah.
In front of all these other sweaties. Like, this is where I want to enjoy this.
Yeah, last time I probably did was in like a McDonald's when I went in the ball pit immediately after.
Yeah, I feel like Buffalo McDonald's, like before like the renovation, like before they made it all nice and like modern looking when it was still like an ugly ass color, but now it's all just like kind of modern and brown.
It's still like a Grimace statue in there. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is tight. But, anyways, leading into How to Train Your Dragon. What a great segue. The new live-action remake came out this week. Only 15 years after the original one, which is just crazy. 2010 was 15 years ago. That's something.
I don't like that.
No. But I did rewatch the original movie because I hadn't seen it in a while. I think I'd maybe seen it once or twice. And, it still holds up. It's one of my favorite animated movies of all time. It really, I don't have issues with that movie. I can't find anything where I'm like, that doesn't work for me in this movie. It's compact, tells its story well. All the voice acting's great, the music's great, story's great. It was nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Animated Feature and Best Score, which very deserved for both. So it's a great movie, and it was great to rewatch that one. And then I did go to the theater to see the new one, and there was... quite a few kids in the theater, which I always feel weird seeing.
When you see it alone, especially, and you're just like, I need you to know I'm not weird, but I also can't explain to you that I'm not weird, because then it's weird.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm not. I don't know how to not look weird because
mid-20s dude just watching it.
Yeah,
it's easier that it's live action though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Makes it a little less.
This one was easier than like Lilo and Stitch. Yeah. This one I feel like is more
mass appeal.
But there was a lot of kids in the theater that were excited, and then 5 minutes later, they're like, I want to leave. I want to get out of here. I'm bored. They're just running around the theater, so...
Time to go.
It's just kids in a theater. But anyways, this movie is also directed by Dean DeBlois. I think that's how you say it. Fucking French-ass name. Remember that? Sorry, side note here. Remember that, Yvonne? That's a French-ass name.
No, I don't. What is it?
What? Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yvonne?
Yeah.
Is this like an SNL skit?
It's like the dude in the movie theater where he's like, can I get your number? Can I get your number? Can I get your number? Are you serious?
No idea what you're talking about.
Whoa, what the fuck? Okay, well, you got a little homework this week.
I guess. That's my viewing of the week.
Immediately after we're done, I'm going to show you that, because that's the wild that you haven't seen that. The autism's really kicking in right now. I'm just jumping everywhere. So we're going to rein it back into the movie here. But yeah, also directed by Dean DeBlois, who directed the first movie along with the other 2 animated ones. And you got Mason Thames as Hiccup, who he was in The Black Phone. I really liked him in that movie. You got Tandy Newton's daughter, Nico Parker, as Astrid. Gerard Butler's back as Stoat the Vast, which glad they brought him back because he's perfect for that role.
Phenomenal.
And this movie's kind of tough to review because it's essentially shot-for-shot remake. It's one of these ones. There's kind of like the remakes that do it shot-for-shot, and then ones that change up a lot of stuff, like Mulan did a lot of different things. So this is one that it's all the same story beats. There's lines and shots that are just directly from the animation. And then there's just some extended scenes. It's almost like a director's cut of the movie.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that it just feels like an extended version of the animated movie. Like, it feels like a special feature, like an option for viewing the original movie.
Yeah, so there's really not much changed in this movie, but I think the positives, this movie does lend itself to live action a bit better than, like, The Lion King does, or some of the other, like, Disney ones. Where you have dragons. We've seen it in Game of Thrones and a bunch of other live action stuff. So it is entertaining. It all looks great. The visuals are incredible. The score is still great. When he goes on the test drive, like, that still just gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. All the performances are really good. Like I mentioned, Mason Thames and Nico Parker, they have good chemistry. And I mean, everybody else fills out the world nicely. The production design of the village is really nice. And so there's no problems with this movie. It's just that we've seen it before. We've done this. And I've been kind of confused hearing about the such positive and glowing reaction for this movie, because it's not bad, and I think people are going to go this summer with their families and watch it. They're going to enjoy this movie, and it's going to make a fuck ton of money, which great.
Good.
Awesome. Yeah. But there's just nothing new here, so I struggle to be like, no, this is a great movie, because you're building off of what you already did before. You're just taking it and just doing it in a different format, which you did well, but I can't give this a glowing review because it's just the same thing, and we've done this before. So if you love the How to Train Your Dragon movies, I mean, I think you're going to enjoy this one too, just to see all your favorite scenes again in live action. But don't expect anything new. There's no differences at all. There's just straight up shot for shot for essentially the whole movie. It's just a longer version of the original movie.
Yeah. What I've heard is that, because the runtime, it's not significantly longer, but it's 20 to 30 minutes longer than the animated movie. So there's a decent chunk of stuff that's added, but from what I've heard is it's a lot of stuff in that first act. I didn't see the movie this past weekend. I don't know, honestly, if I'm going to catch it in theaters. My wife is a big fan of this animated trilogy, as am I. The music, more so than anything, by John Powell. John Powell, I think, did the score for all three of the animated ones. Didn't he come back for this one as well? So that's cool that they brought the director and John Powell, and then we're going to just keep Gerard Butler around too. So we got three carryovers, really. The music for me in this franchise has been the biggest standout. I do like the animated movies a lot. I think the second one's my favorite. And I'm a fan of this franchise, but watching even the first trailer, when you get that first interaction between Toothless and Hiccup, when he's doing the handout and then Toothless nuzzles into his hand, I'm like, okay, so we're just gonna do this again? I remember this movie enough. I've seen it a couple of times, and I really love the movie, but I don't know if I need to rush out to see this in a somewhat crowded summer movie season when I already know what I'm gonna get out of it. It's just now I'm seeing it in live action. But you have John Powell coming back, so you get to hear that awesome score. I imagine the score is as good, if not maybe better, or maybe it works better in live action. I don't know, but his music is phenomenal. I think the How to Train Your Dragon score, it's that and Phil Collins and Tarzan for me for animated movie scores. But I've never been too terribly excited. I feel like the initial word of mouth, especially when CinemaCon did their screening, I heard a lot of early online critics saying oh, it's amazing, it's phenomenal, it's such good fun, it's a great summer movie. And as we've gotten closer, and now that it's been out, I've heard more of a leveling to the reaction to it, where it's it's good, it's the movie, it's the same as the original, it's a little bit longer, and kind of I've heard a lot of the same critique that you have, of where it's just, it feels like an extended version. Not that it's 100% necessary. These additions aren't necessary to enriching this movie or this experience. It's just more of it, and it's in live action now. So I don't know. I feel like when they're doing adaptation, or if they're gonna take a animated movie and make it live action, I want something different. And I still haven't seen Lilo and Stitch, but I've heard from some of the changes that they made in that movie, especially with the ending of that, where I'm that's interesting. I like that. And it doesn't sound like there's really much of that in this movie. It's just more of what we're already used to. And that kind of, for me, is a turnoff. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm really going to rush out to see it. How were the performances across the board? Were there any standouts? I heard people saying that they love Nico Parker. And then I heard people saying that, like, she's not that great. She's kind of flat. And I've heard people say that they love Nick Frost. So is there anyone that really like worked for you in this movie?
Whoa, voice crack there.
Yeah,
Holy
that's
shit.
fine.
Nico Parker, I think was good. I've seen a lot of her and Mason Thames interviews.
Yeah, they seem to have good chemistry.
Yeah, they have good chemistry there. I think they do in the movie as well. She is a little bit more flat compared to Astrid from the animated one, which, I mean, that makes sense. It's a cartoon. You can do more expressive things. I think Mason Thames was really great of not doing a Jay Baruchel voice impression, because that could go wrong very quickly, because he has such a distinctive voice.
Yeah, and he's so like iconic to this franchise. Like, that's when I think of this franchise, I think of his voice with it. Just, oh yeah, guys, like, it's just the weirdest voice.
Yeah, so I think Mason Thames did a good job of the spirit of the character, but kind of doing his own thing, his own voice, obviously. I mean, Gerard Butler was great as Stoic. I can't really imagine anybody else, because he even looks like him in the animation, kind of. So it makes sense to bring him in. Nick Frost is good. Julian Dennison is also in it. Fire Fist from Deadpool 2.
He's really hit or miss for me. It's mostly just like Fire Fist. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. But I love him in Hunt for the Wilder People, so it's like, I don't know.
He's great there. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, there's no real negatives with this movie besides it being the same.
Yeah.
It feels like they, wanted to make a fuck ton of money, which they will. And they also just conveniently opened the How to Train Your Dragon Land at Universal or whatever, so what better way to promote that than the movie?
Yeah,
you know?
I feel like it's never really fallen out of like the zeitgeist of like pop culture, because like we had all three of these movies that came out over the span of like 8 years maybe, and then there's also like a TV show, and I feel like they've done a good job of keeping this franchise alive. I don't know if live action was necessarily the step I needed. If they wanted to make, I think I would have been more excited if they were just like, we're gonna make a fourth movie continuing on the franchise, as opposed to them going to live action, especially with kind of how they've adapted it from the sounds of it. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be rushing out to see it, but I know if I don't see it soon, July's coming up, and July is bringing so many big, hard-hitting movies that I'm so excited for that I'm like, if I don't see this movie soon in theaters, I'm going to be waiting until streaming, just because it's going to likely get lost in the shuffle for me. Do you have any like kind of big recommendations? Should people be seeing this in theaters, or is it like...
I think it does look great in theaters. It sounds great in theaters. So, I mean, I think, like I said, it'll be a great family movie for the summer. It's like a perfect time for everybody to go out. And I think even more so than Lilo and Stitch, it is kind of that broader appeal for... Lilo and Stitch may be aimed at like
Younger
little girls
family,
more,
kids,
whereas like How to Train Your Dragon is kind of more action heavy and stuff, which... It's all entertaining and good, but just, you've seen this movie before.
Yeah, and from the sounds of it, I think that they've already talked about maybe even potentially greenlight, I don't know the specifics, How to Train Your Dragon 2 for live action too. So I'm like, is that going to be just another beat for beat? Like, I don't need that adaptation. Like, I want to see some variance in this so I can have different experiences with these movies. But like I said, I'll try and catch it at some point. Maybe not as soon as I'd like, but I'll see it eventually, I'm sure. A movie that I did catch this week, which was a movie that I quickly became super excited to go see in theaters, is The Materialists, which is written and directed by Celine Song. Honestly, she was the selling point for me to see this movie, because Celine Song made Past Lives, and that is one of the most gut punch, emotional, poignant movies I've seen in the last couple of years. Also, I went into that movie not really expecting it to hit me that hard. I think you saw it before I did, and you were like, dude, it's one of my favorites of the year, which was it 2 years ago, 2023 when it came out. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll sit down and I'll watch it. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, it's just nonstop. Like, everyone, I feel like, can relate to that movie in some way. So with having that talent of Celine Song coming in, writing and directing, more of like, from the looks of it, somewhat formulaic, but rom-com between this throuple almost. You got Pedro Pascal, Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, just three very attractive people, and them kind of figuring out dating in New York. And one thing I will say about this movie is it is stunning to look at. It feels very much of like the When Harry Met Sally, and it really ties in and fits well within that aesthetic of New York, the dating scene, and Dakota Johnson's character is a matchmaker, and like it's so perfect within like rom-coms, I feel like, for the matchmaker to be the one that can't find love, but she can set people up all the time. So I like what they did with the story, but I was actually kind of disappointed by this movie. I was expecting, I think, a little bit more. I wanted it to be somewhat of a formulaic rom-com, because it's something that we don't typically get in theaters a whole lot, at least nowadays. That like mid-range budgeted kind of just drama or comedy or romantic movie you don't really see in theaters, so I was really excited to see that. It's also coming from A24, so I'm like, okay, so they're going to do something interesting. And then you have Celine Song, so I'm like, all right, there's going to be some spin on this. There's going to be more, hopefully more emotion to this than what you would get from a kind of a generic rom-com. And it feels like a movie at war with itself at times, where it's like we want to do the cliche rom-com stuff, which I should probably stop saying rom-com. It's a romance movie. There's not a lot of comedy. There are some lines that did get me like a good chuckle or a good laugh, but it's not like a consistently like light-toned movie. It's kind of serious. And there's some good critique on like the dating scene, especially in New York, and like, oh, how long we've come, or how far we've come from like the 80s, but still like the thing that rings true is that old white men want to date young women in their 20s, and young women want rich older men or rich boyfriend and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, there is like some of that like narcissistic and self-centered tendencies within dating, and those obnoxious tendencies that you kind of get good critiques of from time to time in the movie. But the overall story, which is spearheaded by Dakota Johnson meeting Pedro Pascal, who is this rich, suave, within the dating world, they refer to him as a unicorn because he's handsome, he's rich, he's so nice, he's kind, he's charming, he's respectful. And then, like, running into him and being like, oh, you'd be great for my matchmaking business. And then she also runs into her old flame, which is played by Chris Evans. And, like, there's on-again, off-again stuff going on with them. So, I don't know. It just feels unspecial. And it doesn't feel like it has a strong through line of... It felt like they were making up the story as they were going. You get some of those traditional beats that you would have in a romance movie, but then it hits a point, I think, in that third act where I'm like, I don't know if the movie knows what's going to happen next. Not in like a, oh my god, this is unpredictable and fun way. It's just like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Like, there's some really weird added on subplots. Those subplots, I think, are poignant and say really impactful and powerful and important things within dating and within the realm of modern dating. But also, it just feels so out of left field for what's going on with the core group of characters that we have at the focus. Overall, like, I enjoyed this movie. I think when I came out of it, I would give it like a B+. And then after like sitting with it a little bit longer and like sleeping on it, I always try and wait to review something and like sleep on the movie. And then the next day, like, I even asked my wife, because I saw it with her. We saw it, we left, and we were like, yeah, it's like a B+. And then we woke up the next day, and I was like, how is it for you? Do you still like it as much? Did it change for you? She's like, no, I think it's still like a B for me. I'm like, I think it's like a C. Just because I feel like it had so much potential to be better. The performances, I would say, are mostly good. I think Dakota Johnson, as much as I do enjoy her, and I love her in Bad Times at the El Royale, I've given her a lot of forgiveness in terms of like, you know what, you're not given the best material. You're in 50 Shades. I can't expect you to be good in 50 Shades because this movie's horribly written. Okay, you're in Madam Web. I can't expect anyone to be good in that dog shit house fire of a movie because, wow. But then you're put into a movie directed and written by Celine Song, a person that has proven to me that they are capable behind screen and with pen and paper, and you were the weakest link by far. There are some line deliveries from her, I'm like, this feels like it's in like a Ozempic ad. Like, it just, the delivery felt so fake and flat, and I was like, what's happening right now? So Dakota Johnson was kind of disappointing. I feel like I have to stop allowing her or giving her so much forgiveness in her performances, because now I'm like, I've seen you with good material potentially, and you're not doing well. Like, I'm not convinced by you. There's some good jokes, some good romance, some formulaic things that you get out of it, but then there's also a lot of weird things that the movie feels at war with itself, like I said. And it's also kind of bookended with a very ambitious opening sequence that I don't think fits this movie. And that ends with or near the end, you get kind of a tie-in to that beginning sequence where I'm like, I don't see why this was necessary, and I don't think it fits within the world of this film. So overall, it's a mixed bag. I wanted it to be like one of my favorites of the year. I think over like the 32 odd movies I've seen this year, it's somewhere in like the 18 to 20 range. Like, it's good. Saw it in a packed theater. A lot of the couples and girls, there was a row of girls in front of us that talked the entire time, so that also didn't put me in the best mood. But people seemingly in my theater really enjoyed it. I wanted it to be better, and I'm a little bit disappointed with how much potential was lost with it being Celine's song behind the camera. I'm like, this could have been so good.
Yeah, that's a bummer to hear that a little bit. We talked last week, Past Lives is great. I love that movie, so I was hoping that this one would be good, and I do still plan on seeing it, and I'll probably check it out this week.
Yeah, and I'd still recommend it too. If you saw the trailers and you're like, wow, I want to go see that, go see it. I think you'll probably still at least enjoy it.
Yeah. So I think, kind of like you mentioned too, we don't get a ton of like romance or like rom-com type movies in wide release anymore, so I am curious about checking that one out. But what I did see in theaters this week,
movie you were so excited to see.
I saw the newest kooky fucking adventure from Wes Anderson. Just what a guy, huh?
Yeah.
We talked about it last week of how he's just been doing the same thing for the past few years, and he's doing that again.
Yeah.
The Phoenician Scheme is really about Benicio del Toro. He's this kind of businessman, entrepreneur, kind of in some shady business deals, and he wants to pass his business on to his daughter, who's played by Mia Threppleton, who was really good in this movie. I don't think I'd seen her in anything else, but I would love to see her in more stuff because I thought she was great. And she's a nun in the movie, and he's trying to get her to, stop being a nun and take over the business. And the whole movie is essentially them just going to all these different investors and trying to get money from them. And it's just rinse and repeat sequences of like, wow, it's Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston together. Great, let's go to Jeffrey Wright and them. Let's go to Scarlett Johansson and this person. Like, it's just the same fucking bullshit. And I did not care about this movie at all. The first third of it I enjoyed enough. I think it was just seeing the visuals of a Wes Anderson movie on screen again, which the whole movie looks great. I mean, the cinematography, production design, costumes, all of it. I wouldn't be surprised if any of those things got nominated for Oscars later this year because it all looks really, really good. But I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care about the story. I was almost starting to doze off a couple times in the movie because I'm like, I just don't give a fuck about what they're doing right now. And I don't know, Michael Cera's kind of goofy and fun in the movie, I guess, but it's just another Wes Anderson movie that he has so much control over, where I think he could benefit. I mean, he co-wrote the movie with Roman Coppola, but I think he could benefit from having, not his buddy help him write the movie.
Someone helped rein him in.
Yes, and, have a different voice come in so you can have the Wes Anderson visuals and that, storytelling combined with the great writing of somebody else coming in and kind of helping guide him along the way. I think that's something that M. Night Shyamalan kind of also needs. Yeah. So, I don't know. He's just falling into the same thing that he's doing, and it's just a quirky plot with just dumb dialogue and weird characters. And I just really didn't care for this movie all that much. It's not an awful watch. If you enjoyed Asteroid City and French Dispatch enough, it's more the same along those lines. It doesn't elevate up to Grand Budapest Hotel or anything like that. So, I mean, if you're a Wes Anderson fan, you're probably going to eat this fucking shit up. And
you're probably going to wear a beret to the screening.
You're going to have a fucking baguette or some shit, whatever you guys do. I don't know. No hate or anything, but it's just, I'm kind of sick of this little shtick that he's been doing. Yeah. And, I mean, I'm sort of glad I saw it, I guess, but I'm kind of running out of chances to give Wes Anderson here.
I think the biggest, thing to show that a director is an accomplished and good and competent director and is talented in their craft is to be able to handle different genres and different styles, aside from just rinse and repeat. Oh, everyone's center of frame. Everyone's just saying this weird, quirky dialogue in a deadpan manner. And I like a lot of Wes Anderson movies. I love Grand Budapest. I love Isle of Dogs, weirdly enough. I really like French Dispatch. That movie worked for me, even though that is really kind of starting to dip into this kind of formulaic look of a Wes Anderson film. Fantastic Mr. Fox might be my favorite of his movies, and Bottle Rocket. But I'm not excited for this. It feels just, I've seen this before, and I'm also already not interested in this story. It feels like, we're going to do this patriarch, Royal Tenenbaums. There's always this type of character in a Wes Anderson movie, and I'm getting kind of bored of it. Wes Anderson, do a horror movie. Wes Anderson, do something different. Do another romance, where it's more of a straight-up romance, kind of similar to Moonrise Kingdom in a way. Even though I don't love that movie.
I don't either.
I'm not interested in this. This one is definitely one that I'm not rushing to see in theaters. I'll probably catch it on streaming, which I say that, and it's pretty hypocritical for me to be like, go see movies in theaters, and then I'm like, I'm not going to see this one in theaters. If you're a Wes Anderson fan, you probably already know that this one's out, and you're going to go check it out, and I hope you like it. But I, as a kind of an old fan of Wes Anderson who's kind of losing his interest in his work, this one doesn't teeter my scale. Doesn't fix anything for me. It doesn't make me want to go see this in theaters. So I'm happy you saw it to give me exactly kind of what I anticipated to hear from you of like, it's just him doing his thing again.
Yeah, I was telling you after the movie, there were two women walking out in front of me, and they were talking about the movie, and they were just going back and forth. Like, did you feel anything? Like, do you care about the characters? Do you care about the story? And they're like, not really. I just really couldn't get invested in it. And that's kind of the main takeaway that I have of this one and the last couple movies.
Yeah, they look pretty, but they just feel hollow. Like, it's just not a lot there, I feel like.
There was Dan Murrell, a critic we both really like. He, in his review, had a really good line. It was something like, you're kind of like in a museum where you're watching it, but you don't, like, feel anything. Mm-hmm. It's, like, kind of keeping you at arm's length, and you're appreciating it, but you're not really, like, getting invested in it, which I thought was a great way to kind of explain how I felt about this one.
Well, a movie that I saw this past week, which was a movie I know we've both been really excited for, that is almost the complete opposite. I immediately connected with this movie. It worked wonders on me, and I was like misty-eyed the entire time, even though the movie's not like overtly the saddest thing in the world. It's just like a touching, poignant movie about life. I finally got to see, because it was in limited release for a while, The Life of Chuck, which is directed and written for the screen, adapted for the screen by Mike Flanagan. It's based off of a short story by Stephen King. This is I think this is the second specific time. I don't remember how many times actually Mike Flanagan's adapted Stephen King, but Dr. Sleep is the one that sticks out in my head the most because I love that movie. This film has a stacked cast. Tom Hiddleston is the poster boy. He is Chuck, but he's in the movie. Tom Hiddleston's in the movie for maybe 20 minutes. But you also, the supporting cast is insane. You have Mark Hamill, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, Mia Sara, Benjamin Pajak, Carl Lumley, Jacob Tremblay's in it. David Dastmalchian's in it for like 2 minutes. Like, every small bit character is an amazing actor. So it's a stacked cast all around. It's just a life-affirming, genre-bending story based, like I said, on the Stephen King novella about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz, or Chuck. This movie, it's so interesting the way that they present this story of a man's life and how he lived. And he didn't do anything like super remarkable, but just what life means to everyone, what is contained within what we experience on the day-to-day. And they tell it in a 3-act structure, but they start with the 3rd act, and then the middle act is still Act 2, but then the last part of the movie is Act 1, where you see a lot of his upbringing. And I was so immediately wrapped into this movie. The 3rd act, which is the beginning again of this movie, they don't give you a lot of answers, and they don't really tee you into what's going on. It's a lot of dread and some scares and like what's going on, what's happening, and you don't really get a lot of those answers outright in that first chunk of the movie, and you slowly it gets parceled out to you in the middle and ending portion of this movie of what really happens in the first beginning portion of the movie, and also what that means, like what is contained within our life and our existence. And the way I'm describing it, I feel like makes it sound a lot more like heady sci-fi than it actually is. It's just a touching movie about what we experience. And Tom Hiddleston is phenomenal. Yes, he is only in like 20 minutes of the movie, and a large chunk of that 20 minutes is him dancing, and it's shown in the trailer, his dance scene, and it's awesome. It's one of the best dancing scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Chiwetel Ejiofor is basically the first character I really connected with in this movie, and he's proven time and time again that he is one of my favorite actors working today. He is so phenomenal in this. And one of the best performances I've seen, maybe the best performance I've ever seen from Mark Hamill in this movie. He was sensational. He plays Chuck's grandfather, and you get him more towards the latter half of the movie, and he is amazing. I was really moved by this movie, and like I said, every character plays their part, and they play it well, and it's just about this man and how he grew up, and it's kind of, when you talk about Stephen King writing, you get a lot of the horror classics. You get Christine, you get The Shining, like you get a lot of like Pet Sematary, you get like all these really dark stories, but also you get the Stand By Me's, and you get stuff like this, like Life of Chuck, which kind of really fits into like the Stand By Me, the Shawshank, the Green Mile, where it's just kind of a life-affirming, almost coming-of-age story. It's just about existence, and it's really sweet. Like I said, my eyes, there's a couple of times where I almost full-on cried, but almost the entire movie, I was just misty-eyed. I was just watching it like, oh my god, like one of just absolutely disbelief at how much I was loving this movie, and two of just it hitting me and really connecting with me. So it's a really sweet examination on what a person's life is, and thanks Chuck Krantz for 39 great years. Like you get that popped up so many times, and especially in that first part of the movie. Definitely go see this movie. I know, and I talked about this a couple minutes ago. July is coming up, and we have a big, heavy-hitting summer movie season upon us. We have Jurassic World, we have Superman and Fantastic Four, but we also have little movies like this that, for me, are going to make the summer. This is by far my favorite movie of 2025 that I've seen, and I haven't felt this excited about a movie coming out of it since probably Dune Part 2. Or, and I was telling Corey before we started recording, him and I saw the movie The Fabelmans together, which is made by Steven Spielberg and is, to me, like a modern-day Spielberg classic. And when we came out of the theater and we got in the car, we're just like, oh, dude, just losing
Mason
our
was hitting me hard.
I was losing my shit. I was so excited. And that's how I felt getting into my car after this movie. I was like, fuck, like, they really did that. Like, it was so good. It's probably up there for one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations that I've ever seen. Mike Flanagan honestly can do no wrong. He's kind of known for his horror genre work and being great at that. You get a lot of his reoccurring actors that he works with in like his Midnight Mass and Haunting of Hill House series, and a lot of those returning characters, or actors I should say. But he's not only great at directing horror, he's great at directing just a phenomenal, sensationally well-crafted movie that is just, I think everyone can relate to or connect with. This is a movie I immediately, when I watched it, I was like, I should take my mom to this. I think she'd really like this. So definitely go check it out. I don't think a lot of people are going to run out to go see it. It's a Neon-produced movie, which Neon doesn't usually make big blockbuster films, but it's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
Easily the best of the year for me.
This is one I did not get a chance to see, but I have been very excited to see it, just hearing the reviews from a lot of people and then from you today. And this feels like one that could get some awards love later in the year.
Hope so.
There's always a couple movies that come out in either summer, maybe March or April, that kind of stick around for Oscar season, and I hope that this one does, even though I haven't seen it, just because I think I am really going to like it. I'll definitely see it this week, so I can talk about it on next week's episode. But very different directors just back-to-back talking about, like Mike Flanagan branching out and kind of doing a different genre, where he's typically been doing horror for the past, however many years, and Wes Anderson's just stuck doing the same thing. So great to see Mike Flanagan branching out and doing that, and I cannot wait to see it. Something I wish I really hadn't watched this week was, I guess I just did a live-action remake watch through this week. I didn't really plan on that, but I watched Snow White, the movie that came out in, I think it was March maybe this year, made dick at the box office. They pumped like $250 million into this thing.
Just for it to go wah-wah.
Yeah. This movie seemed to have every controversy, from like Rachel Zegler just saying like, we don't really want to do the original movie because that's really outdated, and we're not going to have the man saving the woman. And then they didn't include the dwarves at first, and then they released that picture of like the bandits or the thieves or whatever, and then people are like, are those the dwarves now? And they're like, fuck, okay, we got to put the dwarves in because everyone hated that. And then the dwarves looked like shit.
Yeah.
And it is some of those horrifying things I've ever seen in a movie.
It felt like a movie made by a committee, but also like they were trying so hard to do something different, but every different thing that they did wasn't necessarily wrong. It was just not taken well by the fans. So then they're like, all right, well, course correct. And now that's also not good.
This is weird because going into it, I thought they were going to do a lot of different stuff with the story, just from what like Rachel Zegler had said and just hearing people. It's, again, the same fucking movie.
It's Snow White.
The main difference is that obviously there's her and the seven dwarves, but then there's also these like 7 or 8 bandits that are there, and one of them is named Jonathan, and he's kind of the prince character from the original movie. and there's just like 15, 16 people in a scene together. I'm like, I don't know any of your names besides Snow White and like a couple of the dwarves. And so I don't know why the bandits were in this movie. I think they just included them and they were too far in, and they're like,
we can't take them out now.
And one of them is actually played by a little person, so it's like, why didn't you just cast them as the dwarves? Yeah. Then Peter Dinklage is like, no, we don't want to get cast in these roles, blah, blah. So they're like, well, fuck, we can't do that. Yeah. So it's like, what are you guys doing? Who just make your movie if you're going to do it.
Peter Dinklage is the spokesperson for all dwarves.
This movie was just a mess, but it really isn't different. It's not like there's the true love's kiss in there and all that stuff. So like all of those story beats still happen in this movie that you remember from the original that came out in 1937. And I've never like had a big love for the original movie. It's a very important movie in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
As being like really the first animated film, and Walt Disney launched a very successful thing that we're talking about now. But this is just kind of a bland movie. It's boring. Mark Webb directed it, and I love 500 Days of Summer, and I actually defend both of the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
I defend the first Amazing Spider-Man movie.
I think there's a lot of good stuff in the second one.
No.
There is good stuff in there. Well,
that movie.
We can do a Spider-Man episode sometime. That would be fun. But I haven't seen Gifted, which I've heard is a pretty good movie too that he made. But you just don't feel any of his style come through in this movie. It just feels like directed by committee. Rachel Zegler, she can sing great. The new songs that they have I don't think are good or memorable, but she does a good job of singing them. We obviously saw that in West Side Story and Hunger Games. Like, she's talented in that sense. And I think she makes a fine Snow White.
How is Gal Gadot?
Gal Gadot, that's what I was just going to next. And she feels like she's in a different movie. She has like a couple villain songs where she's just over the top, kind of hammy, just being like the evil queen and all this mustache twirling kind of whatever. And it felt so different from everything else. Like you said with Dakota Johnson not being a good actress, I just don't think Gal Gadot.
Oh, no.
She was good in the first Wonder Woman movie, and everyone's like, maybe.
Okay.
But then it's like, what have we really had? Like, the DC movies, Fast and Furious, Death on the Nile?
Oh, like Death on the Nile is not a promising display of talent from her either.
That's like, nothing, no shade against her or anything. Like, she's, making some money, and she's very attractive and whatever. But, like, I just don't think that she's a great actress, and I think there could have been so many other people to like be the evil queen in Snow White and do this better. I don't know. The dwarves fucking scared the shit out of me. I didn't like them. They looked just like clay and weird,
gummy.
Yeah, and it was just odd having them next to Rachel Zegler, a real person. You just see the difference of like that's what a real face looks like, and this is just like pudge. This looks like Clayface, just 7 of them. Just sticky, horny, licky, and whatever their other names are.
There's so many different ones that you could have said that I was so worried about.
I held back a little bit. I don't know. This one, I didn't care for. I would rather rewatch Snow White and the Huntsman and The Huntsman Winter's War, which I watched when this movie was coming out in theaters. I watched those two, and I actually kind of dug that first movie. I think those are more entertaining. This one is on Disney Plus now if you want to check it out. I think it came out on Wednesday, or dropped on there on Wednesday. So it was one I just had wanted to see just because it's been years of just every week seemingly like something came out about this movie, and I was very curious. But it's very boring and not very good. So if you're going to see a live action movie this week, go see How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. I will probably likely never check out the Snow White movie.
Good.
I do like the original Snow White, but I've only ever seen it one time, and it was in German class. So it was in German. But the animation still is stunning. Like, I love the 2D, or like the hand-drawn, painted animation. It looks so great. I will not check this movie out ever. I can promise you that. I was trying to rack my brain, aside from like Materialists and The Life of Chuck, what else did I watch this week? And I've started and stopped a documentary and like rewatched Dead Reckoning again while working out at the gym, so I didn't really watch a whole lot of movies that were like new to me, aside from what I saw in theaters. We have a show that you and I both finished, but I also need to plug a show that me and my wife have been watching religiously in the evenings when I get home from work or home from the gym. We've been watching on Hulu The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I didn't think I would ever talk about this show on here. It just doesn't feel like something that really fits who's going to watch a show about movie talk or TV talk. You're going to talk about a reality show about these Mormon wives. This is the most addicting reality show I've ever seen because they are crazy. And I don't mean that in like a women are crazy. I mean these women are insane. And it's so much fun to watch. I hate them all. I like watching them though. So if you need a good dumb television show to just like turn your brain off and watch and just get a bunch of nonstop drama and he said, she said, and fighting and bickering and backhanded compliments, treat yourself. It's on Hulu. It's so much fun. We have one episode left because there's 2 seasons of it. We finished so much of it. We have one episode left that we will likely probably finish tonight, and I am stoked.
Hey, reality TV it's
a
perfect,
comfort spot.
Perfect for what it is. There was a stretch of years where I was watching The Bachelor and Bachelorette and all that bullshit. I think my mom probably had it on, and I was like, just walking by, and I was like, oh, this is fucking stupid. I'm not going to watch it. And then
you do like the dad thing where you're in the hallway, like
20 minutes later, I'm like, he's not going to send her home, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no fucking way he's going to do that. Like, huh? No. And then
it sucks you in.
And then you're into it, and then you're 4 seasons in, and you remember people from other seasons, and you're like, oh, she's back. And you're like, all right, what's happening right now? I don't watch it as much anymore, but even like Love on the Spectrum, like a reality show, it's just entertaining, and again, just like, we can have all these deep, really, you know, Life of Chuck type movies.
Yeah, well thought out stories.
Yeah.
Or you can just have stupid reality television.
That's
which
the beauty of all this.
It's so nice to have. It's a good comfort thing to have.
Yeah.
But back to the show that you and I actually did watch and finish this past week. Tires had season 2 come out, directed by John McKeever. We both, I think, started it last week. We were roughly around the same part by the end of last week's episode. And now we have both finished all of season 2, and damn it, I love this show. It's so funny and also surprisingly touching at times, especially the way it ends. It is like pretty point. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Like, shit. Shane Gillis is great still. The standout for me for this season, aside from a great one-off episode with Vince Vaughn, is got to be Thomas Hayden Church. He is so perfect in this show, and like, I'm so impressed by the level of talent that they're able to get into this kind of seemingly small, just comedy guys having a good time making a show about an auto shop selling tires. I'm surprised at the level of talent they've been able to get into this show, and like some of the comedy legends, like we get Ron White for an episode. So I'm a big fan of this season. And I do think it is a step up quality-wise from season 1, even though I still love season 1. It just feels like, wow, you guys have like more of a production value. You have a better like story here. Like, it just feels more concrete, and like they've settled into their groove and they know what they're doing. I really enjoyed this season.
You can feel season 1 was pretty much just contained within the one auto shop there and like in the parking lot for a couple things, but you can tell they got more budget, like you said, and they're able to go to a tire expo where they meet Vince Vaughn, and they can go to all these different, like the bank and all these different locations, to the restaurant. We talked about it right before when Thomas Hayden Church and Shane Gillis.
It's the first episode Thomas Hayden Church is in.
Yeah, and he plays his dad, Shane Gillis' dad, in the show, and there's a part where Shane leaves and just walks away, and Thomas Hayden Church is sitting there with a beer, and a song starts playing, and he's just, nice! It's my song. Cuts away to the next scene. It is perfect. And there's so many just fun little, like, office-type storylines in this. There's one where Shane and Will go on a radio show, and they're just talking there. It's called Dogman and the Squirt, which, perfect. Good. I love that. And then, Ron White plays an old NASCAR driver, retired, and he comes in just drunk as shit. He beat people up on ESPN years ago. And he's just trying to get some autographs at this place.
He's like, I just need money.
He just crashes Cal's car into the pole.
That too, like the scene where Shane is, we're gonna spoil Tires, I guess, or aspects of season 2 of Tires, but also just watch it. It's hard. It's a show that you can't really spoil, I feel like, just because you're still gonna get the same enjoyment. But that moment between Shane and Cal towards the end of the show, after Cal has been working on this car that has been like his love project, his project for this entire season, and then Ron White comes in for an episode and just fucking totals it. And then I think it had to be the last episode where Shane just buys him a new car. Mm-hmm. And it's roughly the same model, same make of the one that was totaled. And Cal's like, "You're joking. You're pulling my leg." He's like, "No. I love you, man." He's like, "I'm going to hug you." He's like, "Don't hug me."
It's like, don't be gay.
It's just like, this is really sweet. Like, oh, I didn't expect that from the show.
Yeah, it's great. I cannot wait for another season. I hope they keep doing every year, giving us a season. I don't want to wait 2 or 3 years for another one.
Well, and I can't imagine that the post-production of a show like this is super intensive. Like, it's got to be something pretty easy, just because it is just people run an auto shop trying to sell tires. And I like the story dynamic of wanting his dad wanting to retire. Is it Will's dad wanting to retire, and then Thomas Hayden Church, Shane Gillis' dad, wanting to come in? He's like, "You know what? I'll take over the business. What do we want new?" That scene where he's like, "I'm in charge now," at the retirement party. "I'm in charge now. You're fired." He's like, "What? Are you serious? You're fired. Get a piece of cake." He's like, "What?" He's like, "You're not fired. You're hired, but you're working Saturdays."
It's like, what the fuck?
He's like, "What's happening?"
Yeah, this show is awesome. I love it. It's just the new comfort show. Toss on the background if I'm doing stuff. Just consistent laughs, too, which a lot of comedy shows are comedy shows.
Yeah.
I love The Bear, but it's not always a comedy, really. So this is one where it's this is my type of humor, our type of humor we grew up with.
Yeah, it's edgy. This feels like the edgiest, it feels like watered down early 2000s comedy, which is still very edgy for today, for us. So I'm happy to get some, ooh, we're saying things I didn't think could be said.
Yeah.
And I can laugh at this? Oh, sweet, thank you. I grew up with 3 older brothers. I heard all of these words a lot. So, I'm happy to see it in a show again.
Right. And I love Steve Gerben, too, as Will.
Yeah.
I think him and Shane have been buddies for a while, and Shane has kind of, helped propel him a little bit into mainstream, which is great. Again, just, the kind of buddies thing of, real life actually doing that. So definitely check it out. I watched it in, 2 or 3 days. They're each 20 minutes or whatever, so it's great.
Since the last time we talked, I think I had... Because it was a 12-episode season, which last season was 6, so it was nice to get more. I think I had 8 episodes to watch. I watched it all in a day. And it just, I just didn't stop it. I just let it keep running. I was like, I fucking love this. Yeah. I was doing other stuff, casually and watching it. It was such a good time. I really did love this show, and I can't wait for, hopefully, season 3.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think they're going to get more comedy stars to join them, too.
So.
That could be great.
Getting Vince Vaughn just threw me. I was like, no way, we're at that level already? Shit.
Yeah, it was great. As far as new stuff coming out this week for June 20th, the big one is 28 Years Later. I have seen most of 28 Days Later. It's been a long time. I actually haven't seen 28 Weeks Later, so I'm going to be doing the rewatch this week of both of those, which I'm excited for. But Danny Boyle coming back to direct this one here. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ralph Fiennes. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, never heard of him.
Yeah, Ray Fiennes. And then Jodie Comer, Jack O'Connell in there. And, it's another zombie story 28 years later. We skip months. We went days to weeks to years, But what's after this, do we think? 28...
Well, there's a sequel.
Decades?
Was it 28 Years Later... What is the sequel called? Because this is the beginning of a new trilogy now.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, coming from Nia DaCosta.
Yeah, it's... I don't remember what it was called. It's still 28 years later, but it's some subtitle on there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The Bone Temple.
The Bone Temple, yeah.
God, that sounds like my bedroom. No laugh? No reaction from you? I was so proud of that.
I wanted to let you sit with that one.
I hate you.
All right. Oh, Mason's a sick fuck.
I'm married. It's not that weird. I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah. Quiet. But... Very, very excited for this movie. The trailers have been fucking awesome.
That war poem that plays in the back.
Rudyard
6,
Kipling.
7, 11, 5.
I think Boots it's called. The poem. It's awesome. I love that.
I might run to that during the marathon. Fuck it. Just get weird.
Put that on a 2-hour loop.
Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah, so great marketing for this movie. I've really loved all the trailers, and I like zombie stories a lot too. They're a lot of fun, so... Stoked for this one. I know tomorrow we got tickets for a AMC Screen Unseen, which is a mystery movie. You don't know what it is till you go in. But they said it's an R-rated horror movie. So Mason actually told me about it today, and I bought a ticket. And we're hoping that it's this movie. We don't know that for a fact.
When they do these Screen Unseens, they typically do movies that are coming out later that week, or that they're almost like a early fan preview event. But the gamble of you're going and you don't know 100% what you're going to get. We could get something dog shit that we don't want. What if we just got The Ritual? They're like, we're not selling enough tickets for The Ritual.
What if we get Smurfs?
rated R.
What if they just fuck with you and they're like, yeah, it's rated R,
Yeah.
and then it's just Smurfs.
R for in Smurfs. There's an R.
Yeah.
But really hopeful that it's 28 years later, because 28 Days Later is my second favorite zombie movie of all time, behind Night of the Living Dead. 28 Weeks Later is actually a pretty stellar sequel. I was really blown away by how much I like that one. Danny Boyle is also one of my favorite directors. I love 127 Hours. That movie is like one of the most like inspirational movies to me, that just like gets me like I'll probably watch that this week in preparation for my marathon, just to be like, this dude cut off his own fucking arm. Okay, I can do this. I can just run on a bum ankle for a little bit. I'll be fine. So I'm super stoked. I hope that we get to watch it tomorrow night, because I can't wait. The trailers have been great. Ray Fiennes looks fucking sadistic and creepy in this movie. The trailer for this movie has been in strong contention for my favorite movie trailer this past year. And every time, like we go to movies a lot. A lot of times you get a lot of the same trailers. I'm always so excited when it's one of the 28 Years Later trailers, because there's a number of them, but they're all great, and they typically have that war poem in the back, and I fuck with it so hard. I'm so excited. A movie that I'm not excited about, also coming out this weekend, is Elio, the new Pixar animated movie, which I know little to nothing about. I know Zoe Saldana is in it, or Saldana is in it. Little throwback to Amelia Perez. I forgot the name of that. That's how memorable that movie is.
Yeah, you still like El Mal? That's your favorite song?
El Mal
last
is
year?
the best song in that movie, but like, probably should be winning best song. Yeah, the Oscars. Anyway, Elio, a space fanatic with an active imagination, finds himself on a cosmic misadventure where he must form new bonds with alien life forms. Okay, like this feels the most like kind of basic. For like a Pixar movie, it feels like Strange World. Is that what it was called? But that was just straight Disney animation. That wasn't Pixar affiliated. But it feels of that, where I'm like, I don't know if there's a lot here that's really going to connect with me if I go to see it. And I'm a big Pixar fan. We'll talk about Pixar a little bit later in terms of movie news. But I don't know. I don't really have high expectations for this. It does have one of the co-directors from Coco, which is another Pixar movie I didn't have like huge expectations, or I wasn't like eagerly anticipating, but then I ended up loving Coco. So maybe it'll work for me. Maybe I'll hear great things and I'll go check it out, or maybe it'll be like Elemental, where I heard decent enough things, but I just still haven't gone and see it. I'm not like rushing out to it. It's definitely, this is the week of 28 Years Later, and then there's other movies coming out. I'll maybe see Elio if I hear really great things, but it's not something that the trailers have really won me over on, so I'm not like super excited about.
Yeah, the one thing with this is I appreciate it's an original Pixar movie, and they're doing something. I like the space cosmic stuff. That could be kind of fun going into that realm. We haven't really done that a lot with Pixar. Like WALL-E kind of was in space a little bit, but
I've seen a lot of like flack for like the design of the aliens, of like they just look too cute. I'm like, it's a Pixar movie. Shut up. Like I'm fine with it. Like the trailer where his like alien buddy is like, crawl inside my mouth. I won't burn from the lava. Just get in my mouth. Which is an awesome sentence. And then he gets in there and he's like, oh, it's like kind of comfy. He's like, I wouldn't know. I've never been in my own mouth. And I'm like, whoa. So who knows? Elio could be great. Maybe I'll see it just for that part alone.
I didn't even see that part, so I don't even know that was a
Get in
thing. That sounds incredible. I didn't know it was that type of movie. I'm excited for this now.
I've seen Elio this week, I guess.
Fuck, maybe we just scrap the thing tomorrow and just fucking try and see that early.
Oh my god.
So that's happening. The other big movie that's coming out this week, we have Brideheart, which... Okay.
Oh, it's directed by Simon West?
Simon West. You may remember Simon West, the director of Con Air, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Mechanic, The Expendables 2.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And he directed the music video for Never Gonna Give You Up.
That's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
That's weird.
He did a lot of music videos, but that one stuck out to me. I was just looking through his filmography.
The one that everyone got rickrolled?
Rickrolled, yeah. So he's responsible for that. But this movie has a little Pitch Perfect reunion. We got Rebel Wilson and Anna Camp, as well as Anna Chlumsky. I never know if I'm saying that right.
Rough last name.
Yeah, a lot of letters in a row that I don't think should be that close together. And Dave and Joe Randolph is in there. This is about a mercenary group that takes a lavish wedding hostage. They have no idea what they're in for, as the maid of honor is actually a secret agent ready to rain hellfire upon anyone who would ruin her best friend's wedding. This I haven't seen a trailer for this. Besides that, I don't know much about it. Simon West seems like an interesting thing for him to start tackling right now.
I mean, he made the best Expendables movie.
He did. Expendables 2 is great. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this seems like an action comedy type thing, so maybe it'll be fun, but they're just going off the Die Hard title, trying to evoke that a little bit.
I'm kind of tired of like this, like, oh, you're a spy? Like, I'm tired of that kind of genre. You get it in like Killers with Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl, just like where people are just like, wait a minute, you have this whole past life that you haven't shared with me? Like, what? It's lost its luster for me, and also you see it in the trailer, so it's like, I'm just going to be waiting. If I see this movie, I'm going to be waiting for the characters to catch up with the main character being a spy and getting past that and having that conversation, then we'll get to have fun with each other. I actually really like the cast of this. It's weird to see Divine Joy Randolph in this movie just because I'm like, you're an Academy Award winner. Like, this is what you wanted to go into? Like, all right, well, maybe it's good. Maybe it's, like, funny enough. Who knows? Maybe this is 2025's Bridesmaids. Like, maybe it's really funny. This is a movie I wouldn't be surprised, like, I ended up seeing in theaters just, like, on a random Wednesday night. Like, fuck it, I want to go to the theater. All right, well, I'll go see this. I do like Simon West, weirdly enough. Con Air is fantastic. Lara Croft Tomb Raider is kind of underrated. A little nostalgia for that. And Expendables 2, I already said, best Expendables movie. That movie, I saw that movie in theaters when I was like 11 or 12. I thought that was like cinema. Like, that was it. I was like, holy shit, there's nothing better than this. Like, when Chuck Norris comes out and makes a Chuck Norris joke, I'm like, there's no topping this. Fuck you, Godfather, apparently. This is the best movie. Which, no, that's not true. But, yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll check this out. I could see it being just atrocious, and I could also see it being, like, pretty fun. So, I don't know.
If it wasn't, like, a busy summer movie season,
Again, yeah.
maybe, but there's just so many other things I want to see.
Yeah.
As far as physical media this week, neither of us bought anything, but we did have a couple bigger, not, like, newer releases, but some classic titles. Jaws, 50th Anniversary 4K is coming out. One of my favorite movies. I think it's definitely in my top 5.
Does it come with a Blu-ray, do you know? Or is it just
I think it
4K?
does. I think it's
okay.
4K, Blu-ray, digital, all the stuff. There's a really nice steelbook that's got cool artwork on there, which I like. So I definitely want to get that. I actually don't own Jaws. I've been waiting to get like a really good version of it. I don't want to just get like a Blu-ray. I want to if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get the full version.
I just have a standard Blu-ray, and I'm already like, maybe I should get a better version.
Yeah.
Because I also love Jaws.
Yeah. 50th anniversary. That's awesome. And then we have, in preparation for Jurassic World Rebirth, they've got some steelbooks for Jurassic Park, and then the Jurassic World Trilogy 4K steelbooks, which I actually don't mind the artwork on there. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I already have the movie, so I don't really need to get these ones.
I haven't seen every single Jurassic Park or World movie, but this one I'm actually getting really stoked for.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as good as the first one, but like, yeah.
I think Gareth Edwards being in there, I think
Gives me a lot
help.
more confidence. I was trying to tell Allie about the movie that he just directed.
The creator?
The creator. I was
Yeah.
like, it has a really generic name, but it was really good. And like
Yeah.
the fact that he's coming into Jurassic World and that it looks more of like a horror movie, I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
kind of sold.
I love The Creator. I think it's great. So, if you don't own those movies, though, this is a great time to pick those up. And then the 4K of Sabrina comes out, which I haven't seen, but that's a classic one.
Yeah, I also haven't seen it.
Yeah, so maybe someday if it's cheap enough, I would buy it and check it out. Into the movie news of the week. No real big things, but we did have some trailers. First one for Eddington. We had a few like teasers that were like on a phone, like on TikTok. I think it was scrolling on there. I don't know what to make of this movie really. Did you watch the trailer?
I saw it and I know I'm interested in this movie. I know it's gonna be a hard watch because it feels really topical and it feels like it's gonna like. And I'm gonna be annoyed by it, not because of the movie, but because of what's being talked about in the movie. And I know it's gonna be a tough watch and kind of probably a depressing watch. So I'm just avoiding everything with Eddington until I see it in theaters at this point.
Yeah, it looks like it takes place in a small town in like 2020.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's covering stuff about COVID and the election. And I think it's like Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal, I believe, are like running for mayor against each other, from what I understand. So getting into that, and yeah, like you said, just a topical movie that I'm like...
It feels too close to home, which, like, all of Ari Aster's stuff I've really liked. They all make me feel very uncomfortable, especially parts of Beau is Afraid when you get big penis monster in the attic. Watch that movie if you haven't seen it. It gets crazy. And I'm like... I don't know. I'm not, like... I like the posters, weirdly enough, for Eddington. I think that they're really weird. I'm interested in this movie. I'm going to see it, but I know it's just going to really rub me probably the wrong way intentionally. and I will likely enjoy it, but it's not a movie that I'm going to be like, wow, I loved it. Like, I'm interested. I'm going to see it. I don't need to see any promo just because, like I said, it's going to hit close to home pretty quickly.
Yeah. A couple other trailers that we've had trailers before, but they released some new ones. We had the seemingly final trailer for Superman.
Yeah.
Not a ton more to really like break down, and there's not a ton of new stuff. You see Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane flying a ship around. Mm-hmm. I feel like that was a kind of newer shot. But other than that, I mean, still fucking pumped for this movie.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, cannot wait. And then on the other end, we had, I guess, another trailer for Ironheart. I haven't seen it. I watched the initial trailer.
Yep.
This is coming out at the end of June. In like a couple weeks, a
Yeah.
week maybe. I don't know.
How just like quietly this is being released is crazy.
They're just
it's
kind of
they're,
like,
they're like, we don't know how
put
this
it out.
fits into what we're doing now, but we still have it made, so we're just gonna put it out. Which I'm like, if it's bad and you're putting out, don't put it out. Maybe just like hold it and wait to put it out later, or when there makes more sense to put it out. It feels like it doesn't connect to anything.
They've had this on the shelf forever,
So
and they just
long.
want to get it out. And I'll watch it when it comes out, and then I'll probably forget about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not excited. I also didn't watch the trailer. I heard that the trailer dropped, and I was like, didn't we like just get the first one like 2 weeks ago or like 3 weeks ago? I'm like, what, a second one already? They're like, we forgot to market this, and we're just doing all the marketing in June.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah. Besides that, the biggest thing from this week, movie-wise, that just unexpected, Spaceballs 2 is
Awesome.
coming out.
Awesome.
What is it, 2027, I believe it is?
Which they gotta get rolling, because Mel Brooks is 98.
98. He makes a little appearance at the end of the trailer, but this is a great trailer, or a teaser, I should say. It's the Star Wars rolling font.
The crawl.
And it's like, in the years since Spaceballs came out, it's been all these franchises and just listing out all the movies that have come out.
Yeah.
And there's just so many funny things, like obviously the Star Wars stuff, like a prequel to the sequel to the
Prometheus.
prequel. There's like the Alien movies, but 2 with a Predator, but also not Alien movies. Also 5 Predator movies. Also a Lion King movie, a remake of The Lion King, a prequel to the remake of The Lion King. Just a great idea for a trailer. I thought it was hilarious. And yeah, I didn't expect this movie. I hope that they can get a lot of people back. I think Rick Moranis is coming back.
Well, I think that Rick Moranis, so he's coming out of retirement and coming back. I think they said Bill Pullman's coming back, and also I heard that Lewis Pullman is also going to be joining him. So I'm like, whoa, this is already like, boom, skyrocketed, top of the list.
Yeah, it sucks that we can't have John Candy come back. That would be great. But, I mean, they just even from the teaser alone, the idea of a sequel in this era when we have thousands of sequels, they could do a lot of fun and interesting things with it, and I am very curious to see you're making ape noises over there. What's going on?
I'm seeing who they have directing Spaceballs 2, because I didn't know. I'm like, Mel Brooks probably isn't going to direct if he's 98 years old. He's coming back to play Yogurt, which is awesome, but I'm like, who's going to direct it? It's Josh Greenbaum, who he did Strays, which Strays was like fine for me. It's a talking dog movie where
You saw Strays?
I did see Strays.
Whoa.
I didn't see it in theaters though. I think I just like Amazon Primed it. But I did watch Strays. It was fine. But one of my favorite weird comedy movies of all time. In 2021, Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. I fucking love that movie so much. And he made that. He also made a documentary called Becoming Bond about George Lazenby. I didn't know he made Will and Harper, that documentary with Will Ferrell. I always have wanted to check that out. So, all right, I'm sold on this. This is sweet. I was getting kind of worried because I'm like, this could go so south. Like, it's like doing the new Naked Gun. I'm like, is this going to work in today's age? Like, is it going to be funny? This, I'm like, all right, I'm sold. I think is it John or Josh? I already lost his name. Josh Greenbaum could probably handle this and do it really well. I'm so excited now that I know that he's directing this.
I remember you telling me about Barb and Star, like, kind of COVID-y times.
Wild movie.
And I watched it. I'm like, this is actually pretty good.
It's like a weird SNL fever dream movie. Like, it's like Night at the Roxbury. Just weird humor. I fucking love that movie. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. Shit, that's such a good movie. Oh, that's sick. I really love the Superman trailer, too, also. I liked Crypto taking the helmet off of like a guy and then Superman punching him and then the teeth clink against the camera. I'm like, all right, break the fourth wall a little bit. Let's have fun. I'm really sold on it. I also like, is it Nathan Fillion playing Guy Gardner? He's like, come on, Big Blue. What are you going to do, Big Blue? I'm like, ooh, yeah. I dig this.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We're getting so close.
I know, it's wild how close we are. And they're doing like those early fan screenings through like Prime and Fandango that they dropped, and I'm like, damn, I should have probably try and get a ticket for that early. But I'm so excited for really all of these except for Ironheart. So who knows how that will be. In terms of other movie news, it's kind of like a light week in terms of what we can talk about. Like not a bunch of massive stories. There's a lot of business side of Hollywood of like Disney acquiring things, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But James Gunn, when he came out for DC, also talking about like kind of who are going to be their 4 pinnacle characters of this new DC universe. It was Batman, Superman, Supergirl, surprisingly, and also Wonder Woman. But they James Gunn did share that the Wonder Woman script is currently in development, and that they've been making progress on this new iteration of the character for the new DCU. James Gunn, as the head of this DC Studios now, is being really kind of protective of when he's saying a movie is in production or greenlit. He's been very adamant to say we're not greenlighting anything until we have a finished script, which from the sounds of it, Marvel could probably take a lesson or two for the movie Blade and maybe stop trying to push that movie until they have something written in concrete. But Wonder Woman script is in development. Super excited about that. Now we get to hear not only the rumblings of who's going to play Batman, but we get to hear the rumblings of who's going to play Wonder Woman in the new DCU, especially after coming off of Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984 not too long ago. I'm really interested to see kind of what a James Gunn universe, DC universe Wonder Woman looks like and who's going to be cast in that role. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Do you have any people you'd want to see cast? Because I have a couple that I would
Monica
like to see.
Barbaro?
Yeah.
I think I would really... I've heard rumblings of that, and I'm like, that's awesome. Love that.
I think Melissa Barrera would be pretty good, too.
Melissa Barrera, was she Scream
She was in
6?
Scream. Yeah.
I like that. I'm sure there's... I heard rumblings of... I forget her name, but she was in Top Gun Maverick. So I'll have to look up that. But are there any other ones aside from Monica Barbaro and Melissa Barrera for you?
I saw Isa Gonzalez being floated around, which I'd be okay with that.
Who is the actress in Andor? I've also seen that.
Adria Arjona.
I would love that.
Yeah, I think she'd be great too. Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte as Wonder Woman.
And Wonder Woman.
Oh, jeez. That would be a top-selling movie.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. So there's a lot of actually.
Oh wait, Monica Barbaro was in Top Gun Maverick. That's her. Okay,
I was gonna say.
I forgot.
But yeah, I think there's some like up-and-coming actresses that I think could really do a good job, and I wouldn't be upset with a lot of the main ones they've been floating around. So it'll be fun to see. As you mentioned, there's some kind of business side of stuff in Hollywood going on. Disney has now fully acquired Hulu. They completed their acquisition of NBC's stake in Hulu for $439 million, chump change.
Yep. Nothing.
So that brings Disney's total payment for full control of Hulu to about $9 billion, which that's not real. It's just not an amount of money.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, that's
money.
crazy.
That's crazy.
The final payout follows commitment Disney made in 2023 to assume full ownership of the streaming service. It has operated since 2019. So, I mean, I don't know that this really changes much as far as like what's on. I feel like Hulu.
They've already kind of had their partnership with their like subscription services, so it's like I don't know really what's going to happen aside from Disney's acquiring more, which kind of scares me. But
like Hulu will still have like the FX shows like The Bear and a lot of their other stuff that has kind of been their brand and like their own carrying on the Fox type shows on Hulu still.
Honestly, one of the biggest surprises and also just welcome news to me this week was an announcement for a director for The Incredibles 3, which would be kind of safe to assume. I feel like that Brad Bird would be returning. He did the first 2 movies, and they're 2 of my favorite Pixar movies. I know I think I like Incredibles 2 a little bit more than you do. But Incredibles 3 was announced, I believe, last year that they're putting that into production, and kind of my response to that was like, okay, like I don't need Toy Story 4, I don't need Incredibles 2 or Incredibles 3, but they announced that the new director would be Peter Sohn, director of Elemental, which I've already acknowledged and mentioned that I have not seen, but it's a movie that I've heard pretty good word of mouth about, and I've heard that a lot of people that did end up seeing it because it didn't make the most at the box office. It did have a long run in theaters, but didn't make the most. But most of the people that I've heard saw it really did enjoy it. But he will be taking over the reins for Pixar's favorite superhero family for the 3rd film. I'm pretty excited. As long as it kind of, with this Incredibles film, as long as it fits within that world of Incredibles 1 and 2 and the style is there, I'm pretty confident that if they're like, this is the person that we want to take on this franchise, then yeah, sure, works for me. maybe I'll go back and see Elemental now that I know that this director is going to be making something that I'm more eager to go see.
Yeah, Elemental's pretty good. It's not top tier Pixar, but I think a pretty solid movie. The Incredibles is my favorite animated movie of all time, and I love how dark and gritty that movie is. Mm-hmm. Like, a dude tries to commit suicide within the first, 10 minutes, which is insane.
Something I never fathomed until I saw it when I got older, even in middle school, because you see it came out in 2004 or 5 or whatever when we saw it. And my family saw it, we watched it for family movie nights all the time, and I'm like, oh, he just saved a guy, and then the clip, he didn't want to be saved. I'm like, wait, what does that mean?
It feels like an old 60s movie.
Yeah.
I love the vibe of that movie, and even when Mr. Incredible's finding out that all the superheroes have been killed by the Omnidroid, and the music, the score by Michael Giacchino, I'm like, God, this movie's fucking dark, and I love it. And that's why I don't love Incredibles 2. I still think it's a fine movie, but it really does get flashy. And what new superheroes can we have with fun, new, colorful powers?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not quite what I love from this.
The first one, yeah.
But I do always lose it at Jack and the raccoon fighting in the backyard.
That, and so I love that, but the thing that me and my wife reference all the time is Jack Num Num Cookie. When Bob Parr is just fucking drained from having to look over all of these, his 3 kids, and Jack is just on a tear, and he's teleporting. When he blips away, he just can't find him. He's walking around the kitchen, Num Num Cookie, Jack, come back. And that scene alone just cracks me up. So I'm really excited for Incredibles 3, more so than most Pixar sequels that have been announced, more than Toy Story 5. And I think this is a welcome addition in terms of director. I would have, I think, preferred to see Brad Bird come back just because
What's he doing?
Yeah,
what's he doing? Working on?
Put him in live action. He does Ghost Protocol, great. He does Tomorrowland, and then doesn't turn out well, and then people are like, you probably stop. Maybe he'll do Star Wars. I feel like he'd be a great fit for Star Wars. You mentioned Michael Giacchino. Fucking have him direct something, too. What's he doing? He did Werewolf by Night, and that was phenomenal. I'm like, have him direct Blade. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a weird rant off of the...
I just want Brad Bird to do more stuff. We talked about it in Mission Possible Week. He hasn't done a movie since Incredibles 2, right? What's he been doing?
I would
Get back to work.
Lazy bum? What are you doing?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'd love to see him do more stuff, especially live action. If they... We've talked a little bit... Oh, wow, this is already getting long. We already talked about Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, and Final Reckoning, but I'm like, maybe we brought Brad Bird for one of those later entries. Maybe it would have been a little bit more fresh for me. Or just anything. He's capable. I love Incredibles. It's my favorite Pixar movie. So I'm excited, to get this third one, but it would have been nice to kind of have Brad Bird back. But I do have confidence in their new director, and I'll likely see Elemental now because of it. We will be recording also next week's episode a day late. We'll be recording, I think, on Monday is what we were planning. I'll be up in Duluth running Grandma's Marathon. What is your go-to pump yourself up movie? If you had a big thing, or if you're at least I did this when I was younger, I'd watch Friday Night Lights or The Fighter to get me really hyped for a football game and little junior Buffalo football where I'm gonna get one tackle and hurt my thumb. So what's the movie for you that you watch to get fucking jacked?
Man, in recent years, I would say Creed or Creed 2.
Yeah.
The training sequences there, I'm just
running.
The music's just bumping, it's just training out in the desert for stuff. I'm that shit gets me fucking fired up.
Yeah, I'll Rocky Balboa is usually the one for me. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you could get hit. I'm okay. So I'm trying to plan out my week. We have tomorrow night, hopefully seeing 28 Years Later, if that works out to be what we want it to be. But I'm trying to figure out what movies do I watch to get me in that mindset for running a stupid amount of distance.
I think you watched Miracle last year, didn't you?
I did watch Miracle because it ends tonight. Herb Brooks' speech in the locker room. I'm tired of hearing about what a great team the Soviets have. Oh, so maybe I'll watch Miracle again. I don't know. There's it's usually a sports-related film, but The Fighter usually is a good one for me too. When he's training and you hear "How you like me now?" We'll be recording on Monday, so expect next week's episode a little bit late. Thank you for sitting and having some liquor, if you brought liquor, because we didn't, or just drinking water with us for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more in-depth movie reviews and movie news. And subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to us. Leave us a comment, recommendation, film recommendations even. We never even really talk about that. If there's a film that we haven't talked about or something that's a little bit off the beaten path that you love, recommend it to us if you don't think we've seen it, and we'll maybe check it out and maybe talk about it on a episode of Slate Night. In the world of film, it's not just about what happens on screen, but also about who's sitting next to you in the theater.
From Mason and I at what the fuck is the last line? From Mason and I at Slate Night. That's a laugh. Wow, I forgot the fucking line. All right. See you later, fuckers.